There comes otherwise it makes you feel weak. Before the battle even begins, it convinces you that you are fragile when in reality you have survived far worse. Overthinking makes you live a life that does not exist. You fight battles in your head that were never declared. You suffer losses that never occurred. You cry over endings that never came, and while you are busy fighting imaginary wars, real opportunities pass by quietly. Your mind becomes addicted to problems because problems make it feel busy, and busy feels productive, but constant thinking without action is not productivity, it is self-sabotage. The mind loves control, and when life feels uncertain it creates scenarios to feel prepared, but preparation without movement becomes a prison. The truth is, overthinking is fear wearing the mask of logic. It sounds reasonable, but it is rooted in insecurity. It asks questions but never gives answers. It keeps you stuck in analysis while life demands action. Growth never comes from thinking alone, it comes from doing, making mistakes, learning, and moving forward. There is a powerful shift that happens when you realize that not every thought deserves attention. Thoughts are like clouds, some pass, some stay, some bring storms, but you do not have to chase every cloud. You can choose which thoughts define your direction. Training your mind does not mean stopping thoughts, it means stopping obedience. You do not have to believe everything you think. You do not have to react to every emotion. You do not have to explain yourself to your fears. When your mind says you cannot, you ask why. When it says you will fail, you ask based on what. When it says wait, you ask for how long. The strongest people are not those who never think deeply, but those who know when to stop. They know when thinking turns into overthinking and action turns into delay. They understand that clarity comes from movement, not perfection. Overthinking often comes from wanting control, but life does not reward control, it rewards courage. The courage to decide, the courage to act, the courage to trust yourself even when the outcome is uncertain. Waiting for the perfect moment is another form of fear. The perfect moment never arrives because growth is messy, uncertain, and uncomfortable. When you overthink, you give too much importance to opinions that do not build you. You imagine judgment from people who are too busy dealing with their own lives. You fear criticism from those who never had the courage to try. You worry about losing people who were never meant to stay. Let this truth sink in deeply. If overthinking could solve your problems, you would have solved them by now, but it did not. It only made you tired, anxious, and distant from yourself. So why continue trusting something that keeps hurting you? Peace does not come from having answers to everything. Peace comes from trusting yourself to handle whatever comes. Overthinking says, what if something goes wrong? Strength says, even if it does, I will deal with it. The moment you stop overthinking, you start living, you breathe deeper, you sleep better, you decide faster, you smile freely, you stop explaining your existence, and you start owning it. You understand that life is not meant to be figured out completely, it is meant to be experienced. There will be moments when your mind pulls you back into old patterns, when it reminds you of pain, when it tries to scare you again, and in those moments you must remind yourself that you are not your thoughts, you are the one listening to them, and you have the power to change the conversation. Replace what if with even if I fail I will learn, even if they judge I will grow, even if it hurts I will heal. This shift changes everything. It takes power away from fear and gives it back to you. Stop replaying conversations, stop rewriting the past, stop predicting the future. Your life is happening now, not in your head, not in your fears, not in your regrets. Now is where your power lives. When you choose action over overthinking, you choose life, you choose courage, you choose growth, you choose yourself, and that is the most powerful decision you can ever make. So if today your mind feels heavy, your thoughts feel loud, and your heart feels tired, remember this: you were not created to carry the weight of imaginary problems. You were created to live, love, try, fail, learn, and rise. Stop overthinking before it destroys the life you are meant to live. Your mind should be your tool, not your prison. Control it before it controls you.